Is this on? Yes, it is.
Rudy's Revelation. The new world order.
You can't handle the truth.
You can't. No, that's fair.
That's it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It is July 15th, Monday. Usually do a Sunday review of the mainstream media. Gonna delve into that a little bit, but of course we're gonna be talking about the Trump assassination attempt, the intentional wounding of Donald Trump, the patsy and second shooter scenario. So we're gonna dive deep into that. But first off, we're gonna look at a segment from Face the Nation that features Samantha Vinograd, who is a deep state operative. We're gonna hear from her, but also another gentleman, a former Secret Service folk, who is gonna tell us basically what the perimeter is going on. But they didn't want to martyr Donald Trump. You know, they saw what happened when they martyred Jesus. You had 2,000 years of resistance. So we're going to take a look at the second shooter scenario and what exactly they were trying to do here. And by the way, nobody is blaming fucking Joy Reid for continuously calling Trump Hitler. And that's going to get people like this patsy to, you know, crawl up on a roof. 100 yards, 150 yards away from Trump, and fail. And we're gonna talk about all that coming up right now. But I think first, let's go right into this segment from Face the Nation with Samantha Vinograd and the guy from the Secret Service. All right, hold on just a second here. This is just typical. I just played it just a second ago. Let's try it again. Nope, doesn't want to play. Just help me out here. Hold on.
And we're joined now by former Assistant Secretary for Counterterrorism at Homeland Security in the Biden administration and CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd, as well as A.T. Smith, also a CBS News contributor and former Secret Service Deputy Director. What do we know about the security perimeter exactly here and what went wrong?
Well, obviously, the number one problem, the most glaring question to be asked is, how did this individual make it to the roof of that building with a long rifle, an AR-15 type rifle, apparently? The Secret Service plan has three concentric rings of security, an inner perimeter, a middle, and an outer. And the counter sniper team is responsible for that outer perimeter up to 1,000 yards. And so it's their responsibility to pan out and watch all of that and look for the sort of thing that occurred yesterday.
So did the Secret Service have adequate time to prepare for this rally? I understand this Butler, Pennsylvania location had been used before by the Trump campaign. Yes,
they did have an adequate amount of time. I spoke to my sources at the Secret Service, and this was like any other planned advance. They were there, several days in advance, so there was no short notice or anything like that.
Our sources are telling us at this time that this individual was not known to law enforcement. We do know what his name is. We know his general biographic information. But at this point, authorities have indicated there's no nexus to terrorism and he had no law enforcement background. At the same time, Margaret, it is worth noting that the intelligence community has warned for years about the threats posed by lone actors and small groups of individuals. Lone actors are historically very difficult to detect because they operate alone, aren't in communication with others, and so the investigation will take time. At the same time, there is a need for the investigation to be as transparent as possible. There are already conspiracy theories percolating about what was behind this horrific assassination attempt, and that is why we saw the FBI and state police brief last night and try to provide whatever information they have as soon as possible.
Should Americans feel safe this morning?
Mass gatherings, as well as high-profile activities and sites, are the most likely targets for these sorts of events.
And yet, AT, we are in a campaign season. Outdoor mass gatherings, indoor mass gatherings, they are bread and butter of political campaigns. Your colleagues, your former of the Secret Service, what are they thinking right now?
The FBI is the lead agency with this particular incident, and they will do a thorough investigation. And, you know, again, I've all on nobody on themselves than the Secret Service. Yes.
They called it an untrue assertion that a member of the former president's team requested additional security and that was rebuffed. They called it absolutely false. And in fact, they had added protective resources, technology, and capabilities. What do we understand happened here?
In terms of their assets?
Their Secret Service is being accused of not providing resources that were requested, and the Secret Service says that's false.
That is untrue. It is true that a request was made some time ago, and the Secret Service addressed that request. And I can tell you, based on what they told me this morning, the former president is getting basically the same assets that the sitting president gets, maybe without a couple of classified things that go on. But for the most part, he is getting the same level of security that the sitting president gets. And an example of that is the counter sniper team that was there, as well as the counter assault team that was there. And you saw them respond to protect, in essence, the agents when they had the former president on the ground.
And Sam, this is unusual, but for the agency to come out and swat down an untruth, they have to be concerned about rumors like this. And frankly, some lawmakers were alleging things like this.
Well, intelligence and law enforcement is concerned about the role that conspiracy theories could play in inciting further violence. At the same time, I will say, worked hand in hand with the Secret Service. They are ideologically agnostic. The focus here should be on investigating whether there were intelligence failures that led the Secret Service to miss a threat and or operational failures that did not allow the Secret Service to establish a perimeter that helped secure the protectee. But the Secret Service is ideologically agnostic, and conspiracy theories can only add to the heightened threat environment at this time.
All right, there you go. Well, what we saw the guy from the Secret Service talk about there is counter sniper teams are responsible for the outer perimeter out to 1,000 yards, which is, you could do 2,000-yard shot, but those are hard to make. But a sniper, a professional sniper, and that's what we're going to talk about here, is what a professional sniper could do. And so they have to look out at about 1,000 yards. So we're going to get into that right now. So let's look at some of the headlines since the assassination attempt took place. All right, so first of all, we're going to start with the Wall Street Journal here, which is an opinion quarantining this conspiracy swamp. The conspiracists on the right and the left deserve to be ostracized. Well, I'm going to talk about a few conspiracy theories here, but it's not the ones that Joe Biden ordered the hit. Now, what do we know? We know that they tried to get rid of Trump with lawfare. That didn't work. And so the assassination is the next progression in that line of thinking. So we're going to roll with that here. But what I'm trying to stress is that they didn't want to kill Trump, because you're going to kill Trump, you're going to martyr him, and that could make things even more problematic for you in the middle of an election year. So let's take away that they tried to kill him, and let's insert there that they wanted to wound him publicly to create chaos in the campaign and fear among his rally goers. And that's the most important thing, because if you listen to the piece on Face the Nation, they talked about Oh, people should worry about going out to political rallies where there are crowds. Now, if you went to a Biden rally, there wouldn't be any crowds, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But they're talking specifically to Trump rally goers. Don't go to the rallies, you might get shot. That's what this is meant to prove. Now, the guy that got shot, that fell on his family, now, did he cover his family and then get shot? Or did he get shot and then fall on his family? It's hard to know. He's supposed to be a hero protecting his family. Okay, I'm going to go with that. But he took a headshot. Now, they're trying to say that it was this 20-year-old kid mistakenly shot this guy in the head and managed to clip Trump's ear, which is a headshot from 140 yards away. And then that was a second shot. So we're going to break it all down right now. So let's go there first of all. And the way we're going to go there first is we're going to go back to Dealey Plaza in 1963 when President John F. Kennedy was shot. Now, this is the grassy knoll. Now, this is from a conspiracy theory. Now, there were a lot of diagrams that are scrubbed from the internet, which I also want to talk about a couple other things scrubbed from the internet. So in 1963, they said Lee Harvey Oswald shot from a book depository building and through trees. And if you ever saw the movie JFK, Oliver Stone lays it out quite clearly that supposedly magic bullet theory and all this thing, that this guy with an old Italian bolt rifle shot through trees and scoring this headshot, which is obviously a front shot because it blew the back of his head out. And if you know anything about ballistics, is the entry wound is like this, and then the exit wound is expanded. So that's what you have to realize. So in any case, it's unlikely that Lee Harvey Oswald, the patsy, maybe he did take some shots, right? But that wasn't the shot that killed the president. And that's the point. It's misdirection. Look over there, don't look here. So in 63, they had two guys from the grassy knoll, Buglazi shooter position with angle, both headshots there. It's actually, this is the way they show the trajectory here is incorrect because that's a side angle. They shot him when he was much further up the street because it was a direct shot to the head. This is the only one I could really find that really shows what the fuck went on there. And this is an old diagram here. So I didn't have time to mark it up because I thought I'd be able to find the one that I had seen previously. But in any case, here it shows the trajectory. Again, it shows a side shot from the grassy knoll. That's not really what happened. They shot further down. It was the book suppository, supposedly shots coming from the book depository. I keep saying suppository, so excuse me. Freudian slip. But I don't think any of that had happened. He was shot from the front. So in any case, it's misdirection. So let's go along with what we're talking about here using satellite imagery, and we're going to look at the audio signature from the event and whatever, and what we know about shooting. If any of you out there know anything about shooting, bullet trajectory, and the like. So first off, I want to go, this picture which I saw in the New York Times was almost scrubbed. Okay, this is a picture from the New York Times from Eric Lee. Now, it shows the counter sniper team on one of the barns behind Donald Trump, looking with binoculars, as counter sniper teams do, with their binoculars. Now, this was almost scrubbed. This was on quite a few articles the New York Times had, and I had to go around and actually look in the New York Times to find it again because I couldn't find it anywhere online. And what I'm trying to stress here is they're using high-power binoculars, and this is before their guns are up. So they're just viewing. High-power binoculars viewing exactly in one direction, and that is toward that area. Right? The counter sniper team is looking for snipers. The counter sniper team is not looking into the crowd for people with handguns or whatever other threat might be posed. There's other teams for that. Counter sniper teams are looking at high vantage points from the outside perimeter out to 1,000 yards, as you heard from the former Secret Service guy. So they're looking. They're looking in the direction. This guy here is looking in this direction right towards that building. This guy's looking over a little bit, but we'll see what they're looking at. All right, and then I want to go to this. Now, this is very important because I want everybody to listen to what this guy, Coach Bruce, at OX_DAO on X. Now, listen to what he has to say. The conspiracy theorist, I used to work in military intelligence. My take on the Trump assassination attempt today. The guilty parties are definitely, 1, the counter snipers and spotters assigned to cover these specific rooftops, and 2, the team leader responsible for all of event pre-planning and assigning lines of sight. And we're going to get into all of this. There is 0% chance that a standard sniper spotter team tasked with covering such a critical direct line of sight rooftop did not spot a man crawling for over 2 minutes on an exposed rooftop with a rifle. The shooter's approach was amateurish. It wouldn't even pass basic training. He was fully exposed, easily visible to the public, fully exposed, mind you, easily visible to the public, on a critical rooftop where the counter sniper team was looking, and extremely slow. Drone surveillance is also standard procedure, which it wasn't added, even though they said it was added. I'm going to get into this as well. Added to this, you have members of the public pointing out the shooter. The only reason not to spot this shooter is that it was willfully ignored by the assigned counter sniper spotter, or a portion of the total area to be covered was deliberately excluded by the event team leader, and they did leave it up to municipal police, or sniper spotters were misdirected. Willful allowance is much more likely. From the video footage and the audible gunfire, it also appears that the designated counter sniper had the shooter in his line of sight, but specifically waited until the first few shots were fired before neutralizing him. It was sheer luck that the shooter missed. Civilian incompetence is always at risk. When passive facilitation is chosen, the shooter was allowed to do it. Inside job. I think that last line is cut out there. So there you go, from former military intelligence. All this, if you know anything about sniping, and I'm not military, I don't know, but I'm sure there are people out there that know, but I know a few things about tactics. And what you have to understand is what this guy says is all true. So we're going to revisit this X post in a minute. But then I'm going to go now to, let's look at the scene. Okay, here's what the mainstream media shows. All they show is where Trump was, where the bleachers were, where the gunman was. And they keep pointing to different rooftops. So if you see here on the barn behind Trump, the counter sniper team was looking in one direction, looking right at this building. They were looking over here too a little bit, but when we zoom out into the satellite imagery, we'll show you more. Here's the satellite imagery. It shows in the middle where the rally was, in this area here, right in the center of this satellite imagery. Over here is where the patsy was, top center. And here are the 3 barns where the counter sniper team was facing exactly in that direction only. Now, let's look at my hypothesis. Yellow line shows where the patsy was shooting from, 150 yards. Now, before I delve into this, and this is going to be long, so just stick with me here. From an amateur speculative position that I'm taking, snipers, and this guy was a shitty shot, so he sucks. What drove him up there is good. And I could only imagine there was someone coaxing him or goading him into do it online. He was a geek, and geeks with no friends spend their time online chatting with people they don't really know. There it is. So I'm going to get back to this image in just a second, but a sniper would never shoot from that close because you're exposed to counter snipers and other Secret Service countermeasures. Drones. You could be spotted from the crowd. As the coach says on X, it's amateurish. You're too close, and you're not shooting from cover. You're fully exposed, which is going to make you vulnerable to spotters that are with the security team, but also to just regular Joes walking around. So you would never do this. So he's a young kid, okay, he makes a mistake, whatever. But the shot is also, he's very close. And let me tell you what a professional would do, in my honest opinion. This is the shot that was taken. And the reason I'm saying this is the spotters here in the red box on the roof of the barn behind Trump were looking in one direction only at these buildings over here. No one was looking back this way. Now, if you look at the line of sight from the edge of this barn, really it could have been either of these barns, but I took this one because at the edge of this barn that was near the pond, it was still on Butler Farm Show property or Show Farm property. And he would have been hidden from the crowd because he's way far away, because that's what distance does to you. It's about twice as far, maybe, 40, 50% more. But because of these line of trees here, he would be obscured from the counter sniper team, which is exactly what you want to do. Plus, because you're not on a suicide mission if you're a sniper, it's an easily crawl down. There's a dirt parking lot back here obscured by trees where you could easily get into a work truck and drive out through this residential neighborhood. You follow me? There's the overall again of the grounds. Behind or to the south, let's just say, if we're talking more north-south, there's a residential neighborhood with a dirt parking lot adjacent to the showgrounds, to the facility. This is all the facility here. The, what's it called? The Butler Farm Butler Farm Show, Inc. It's the facility working buildings where they house animals and whatever. Not the showgrounds itself where Trump was. So that would be under, all the security would be under Secret Service, etc. FBI, local police, etc. So now we're going to go on to the next slide. I'm going to show you here is the acoustic profile. 3 shots fired, multiple shots fired. That is the takedown. First of all right, let me get back to simple shooting. Your first shot is always going to be your best shot. People follow? Your first shot is always going to be your best shot. Now, you can have a great MOA, you can have a great grouping, right? But apparently this guy was rushed and an amateur, so his bullets probably went wild. Now, the problem is here, the way they have this denoted, this is not the shots, right? The way they had it. See, these are what gunshots look like. If you look to the right, you see the signature? This is not the gunshot. The gunshots are over here. Now, the first, here, I'm going to go back to the slide here. Sorry. These are not gunshots. These little signatures. These are gunshots. These are by the response team. Now, what I want to go on to say is your first shot is always the best. So his first shot should have hit his ear, not the second shot. So they're saying his first shot, you hear it pop, everybody reacts. There was actually a blonde girl in the back of him that went down, hit the ground, even before Trump went down. Now, there were a bunch of people behind him. There was one guy that looked like a leftist, like a hippy-dippy guy, but he had a yellow handkerchief tucked in his vest pocket. Now, he stood during the whole thing. Now, if you're under fire, why would you just stand there unless you know you were going to get shot? And he was looking around. There was also a guy standing in a big yellow T-shirt, and that he was standing looking around during the shooting. Very suspicious. And then there was a woman in the lower right corner, sort of where Trump is to his right behind, signaling by waving the towel 3 times. So it seems like she might have been indicating something. That's just my speculative, because with these sorts of things, when you have an op going on, you have people in the crowd that are going to be signaled. Now, they know that they're going to get shot because they're in the back. They're not in the line of fire. Now, we're going to go on to other slides here. I'm going to show you something. Okay, here's where he is, right? Here's where the patsy is. Now, he fires, right? See how the trajectory is from high to low. He's above Trump in elevation, and he's shooting down. Now, how could he hit people in these to the left of Trump, if you're looking at Trump, to the left of Trump, to Trump's right? How could you shoot people in the lower bleachers of these bleachers here, this seating, if you have this trajectory? Your stray shots would actually go down here into this bleacher area. This is the trajectory. So this is where people would get hurt, and these were apparently where the people are wounded. So we need some verification on who was wounded where to get an idea, but they're not going to tell us that, obviously. Now, here's where, see, these are bleachers. This is location of a wounded rally. So this is the trajectory. Off to the right, if this person was hit. This person is not, this is not even in a clear shot. You would have to be so wild, and he was in a prone position, so your gun is down, you're not standing. Maybe if you were standing and firing, you would hit some of these people, but the trajectory is not correct, because here's your line of sight shooting down to Trump. These people would only be hit if someone was shooting from off to the left. Oh, so there was additional snipers on this roof. They're saying, which way were they looking? Also this way? And this could have been the sniper team that took out Trump's ear. You don't know. These were additional snipers. Nobody has pictures of these snipers. So this is the next slide here from a New York Times article. A gunshot is heard and Mr. Trump stops mid-sentence and flinches. That's not true. Well, that's true. But there are 2 shots. I can even play the video again for you. It's a pop, and people hit the ground. Trump flinches, but then he keeps talking. And that's when the other, now you have to understand, the bullet is going to arrive before the noise. So he goes like this. He goes like this, and then he reaches for his ear. At the same time, you hear the second crack. Now, as I said, your first shot is always going to be the best. They're trying to say it was the first shot that took his ear. That's not. You can look at the video. I'm going to play the video after this, just to show you that there's a crack and everybody hits the ground, and Trump he reacts, he flinches, but he doesn't get down until he hears the second shot, which already hits his ear. Now, this is Doug Mills. They say, oh, he captured the bullet. I mean, come on. I know a thing or two about photography, and I don't know what shutter speed he was using, but it's almost impossible to catch a bullet mid-flight. So I call bullshit here. And besides, even if you did catch it, how do you know it's incoming or outgoing? It seems like this is bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to show you the thing here. So there you go. Doug Mills. Yeah, well, okay. And although I happen to like Doug Mills's photography, I have to call bullshit on this one. We don't know if that's proof of anything. Then going back to the story, in an era where other people his age put troves of personal information online, the shooter, Matthew Crooks, 20, left few clues about who he was, what he believed, and what decided to drive him to a Trump rally. Pennsylvania tried to assassinate the former president. Probably somebody online he was talking to. On Sunday, federal investigators said a gunman they identified as Mr. Crooks had used an AR-style 15 rifle purchased by his father to open fire from a rooftop. So he didn't even buy the gun. He stole it from his dad. Moving on here. Social media platforms deluged substantiated claims about Trump rally. Disinformation experts immediately urged caution, warning people not to jump to conclusions they already are. Without providing proof, the social media posts blame shadowy figures on the left for targeting Mr. Trump like they didn't target him with lawfare, and built an idea circulated that Mr. Trump and the deep state or cabal within the government was seeking to stop him from returning to office. Why would people think that? I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just absurd. It's like, how can you look at what's happening and say they're not trying to keep Trump from even serving in his first term? They were trying to impeach him. They were trying to convict him under impeach him under false pretense, and then they're trying to convict him under spurious pretense. I mean, come on. It's not. All right, back to the articles. I don't want to belabor that. I could just laugh all day. ABC News, AP sources, gunman at rally pointed rifle at officer, found him on rooftop shortly after he opened fire. Gunman at Trump rally pointed rifle at officer, found him on rooftop shortly before he opened fire. Okay. Here we go. It's just like the same thing with Uvalde. What do you do as a police officer? Hold on, I got to wait for... You wait for backup? You wait to radio somebody? What exactly are you doing? Now, this reminds me of, you ever saw the movie Shooter, where they're all sitting in the upstairs of this warehouse or whatever with Mark Wahlberg and all the CIA guys or what have you, the agency guys. And then the officer comes in, introduce himself, and Mark Wahlberg goes, your gun is unsnapped, and the guy takes the gun out and shoots Wahlberg because he's supposed to be the shooter, and Wahlberg falls out the window. And then the CIA guys scream at the officer, regular Metropolitan Police officer, you missed. That's what got me to believe this. So you're a police officer, you're told there's a guy acting suspiciously, then there were reports from people in the crowd that there's a guy climbing on the roof with a rifle. You crawl up there and see him, and he points your rifle at you, so you go away? Do you not duck, draw your weapon, and then go and say, freeze police, or stop what you're doing, or fire at him? What the hell? What the hell was that all about? That is inexplicable. And this is about 5 minutes after the people had pointed out this patsy on the rooftop, and even the guy that was on video with BBC saying, I was surprised that Trump hadn't been pulled off the stage yet. This is an open threat, and so somebody must have radioed to somebody, and the Metropolitan Police, the local police, were in charge of that area. Why is that? That's a buildings with open line of sight to where Trump was speaking. All right. Back to the gunman. Portrait emerges of Trump shooter, quiet, withdrawn, with little political footprint. Former schoolmates say Thomas Matthew Crooks had few friends and was sometimes bullied. Well, he does fit the profile. Maybe that's why they lash out, but there was never any sign of violence. Why would he do that? Because he's lonely. He's not a loner. He chooses to be alone. He had few friends. And so where do people like this look for friends? Online. And where do they find friends? Online. On first-person shooter games. You ever play first-person multiple-player shooter games online? You ever play that? You ever have weird people try to contact you and go, hey, be my friend? Who are these people? You go to chat rooms and stuff. Wasn't it the Buffalo shooter who was chatting with an ex-FBI? A guy in his 50s or 60s? What is a guy like that chatting with a young man? What are they chatting about? It's all very suspect. Okay. Trump shooter, this is from New York Post. Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks was a loner, relentlessly bullied in high school. Crooks made a $15 donation to Liberal Act Blue Political Action Committee on President Joe Biden's inauguration day. So that's right after January 6th. What does that tell you? Trump was leading an insurrection, so I have to kill him. You have to stop Hitler from taking office. Who knows what this guy believed? But if he listened to Joy Reid or Rachel Maddow or any of the people that use this rhetoric about Trump as Hitler and Trump is trying to end democracy, you might be called to do that. You'd be a hero. So, but who gets you to do this? And he was acting suspiciously beforehand, just like the guy at Uvalde was, looking for other people as he was shooting at the outside of the school. He was like looking for somebody that wasn't there. And then mysteriously, a door was left open for him. Very strange. All right. We're going to keep going now. New York Post. All right, there you show the counter sniper team. There are only pictures of that one, even though there's supposed to be another counter sniper team over here. Looking which way? Now, they don't have a clean line of sight there to Trump, maybe, but we'll see. So that's all they're showing you right there is the manufacturing building, the counter sniper. We're clear they were looking right at him. So they were ready. They were absolutely ready for him. And then supposedly where the shots were taken at Trump. Daily Mail. Trump shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks was rejected from his high school rifle team for being a terrible shot. Would-be assassin was considered dangerous and made concerning jokes about guns. He tried out for the team and was such a comically bad shot, he left after one day. What does that tell you? You know, he was good at video games, but he sucked in the real world shooting. So this guy shot a potential headshot from 140 yards away. Have you ever shot 100 yards? Anybody? Have you ever shot 200 yards? Not easy. Even with a nice Snyder glass or you know, whatever your preference is there. Did he have was it non-windy? You know, was there no wind? I don't know. It shows a little bit of wind. Does he know anything about fall off or drift or anything? Was he using a correct round? Daily Express, Thomas Matthew Crooks pictured after shooting Donald Trump with guns stolen from dad. A deadly shooting broke out. And so apparently, I haven't been able to find the picture, but apparently there's a picture of him with his dad's rifle. Now, the most interesting thing here is from Bloomberg. BlackRock, the investment firm, says gunman from Trump rally appeared in firm's ad. Apparently, he appeared twice in the ad. One was sort of a close-up, another one is more in the background. I just find this odd. And when you deal with a cult, it just, to me, it smells. it stinks. I don't know what it means necessarily. I don't know what it means necessarily, but bear with me here. This has some import to it. All right. Let's get to the juice of the matter. Okay, again to the satellite imagery. There we have a southern picture of the area, excluding the manufacturing plant where the Patsy was. Now they're saying there was a counter sniper team on the lower barn roof. There were 3 barns behind Trump. The top barn, the most northern barn, had a sniper team pointing in the direction of the manufacturing plant where the Patsy was. And then apparently another sniper team on the southern barn. But where were they looking? We don't have any pictures of them whatsoever. This is my scenario. If I, not that I would ever, but if I would ever choose a place, it would be down here on this barn. Maybe this barn over here, but either one of these two, I would say this barn, the southernmost edge of this barn by the pond on the Butler Farm Show grounds. It's the administrative area where they house animals and they have an exercise track and whatever, and water, obviously, for animals. But the point is if you look at this, we're going to pull back a little bit further even. He could even be on this southernmost barn. I would put him on the northernmost barn. Because on the northernmost barn, you're screened from the counter snipers by this line of trees here. So you're shooting from cover. Now, no one can see you back here because this is a residential neighborhood. And look at the exfil. There's a dirt parking lot with an access road right here and a path that you climb down, walk here to a waiting truck vehicle, a truck, like a truck that might say so-and-so farm materials, whatever, a pickup truck. And you just drive out. No one would be any smarter. It's sort of like what happened at Sandy Hook, if I beg to say, is that the people running through the woods, if you looked where they were running, was right to a residential cul-de-sac where there could have been a landscaping truck waiting for them to drive out, and they're all in their landscaping gear or whatever. You know the way intelligence agencies work, don't you? Going back to this slide. Okay, so could have been here on any of these buildings here, but you're too exposed here. If you're way back here, you're less exposed with easy exfil. Right there, with a waiting truck there and a dirt parking lot. It's almost like the grassy knoll. Now let's take a closer look at the satellite imagery. I put the second shooter here on the southernmost part of the northernmost barn. I forget what's called lakes. This is called Lakeside Road. So they call this a lake. Right, they're calling this a lake. This is actually a pond. It's a utility pond. It's for feeding, to have water for animals and whatnot. And the reason is because this area here, you're obscured from the counter sniper team by this line of trees here. And as I said, a dirt parking lot here. I think there's a little bit of fence, but you could easily hop that fence, get into a waiting vehicle, and exfil out of the area with no one even noticing. Because you wouldn't have to drive out of the actual grounds. You'd go out through this residential neighborhood here. What is it? For 40th Street, Sarah Lane and 40th Street, all the way out. And then you go. And then you could be driving back here and actually looking at the mayhem you caused. But my whole take on this is that Trump was wounded in the ear purposefully, because snipers with any skill can shoot the dick off a fly or a leg off the fly, so to speak. So it is a shot of prowess to take off Trump's ear. And if the wounding was purposeful, you don't want to martyr him. You want to wound him to cause, specifically to cause the rallies to stop. That's the idea behind it. Also to cause chaos in the campaign. And they're trying to link this patsy. They're going to try to link this patsy to Trump. Obviously make it a gun issue again, but as all the hallmarks of another intelligence agency op. Now, is the sniper like a government sniper? Is he in the army? Is he, come on. That's not how things work. This guy is employed. He's an asset, not an agent. He doesn't show up at Langley every day. He's hired to do a specific job. Sheep tip, probably ex-military. It might not even be ex-U.S. military. It could be, from Russia or what have you. So that's what we have. That's what we have going on here, and that's what it looks like, because it looks like Trump got shot in the ear. Boo! And they try to say, oh, it just missed his head. And it was the second shot. An amateur second shot is never going to be as good as his first shot. An amateur, like they're saying, did that, would never even get close to Trump's head. But a professional would. A professional could nick his ear or wound his arm. I think it was up to the sniper of how he was going to wound him. And I think the sniper decided, as to show his level of prowess, is to nick his ear. And also he took a glory kill. So I think that he shot Trump's ear. So it was a first shot. So they allowed the patsy to take his shot. Then the sniper took off Trump's ear. Then the sniper took a glory kill. So, which is basically somebody had to die. So he went off target briefly into the background in the stands and shot some guy in the melon. And, the pink mist. So another prowess shot. So the sniper to the south probably only took 2 shots. One on Trump's ear. One was the glory kill, because someone had to die. And probably the other people that were wounded may have been wounded by the second shooter, but more than likely the patsy. If the patsy got off 3 rounds, it was probably ended up wounding somebody in the southern bleachers, when some of the people killed were in the northern bleachers that flanked the stage. So this is what USA Today has. At least they have the full picture about basically what happens here. Residential housing, they show it. That's the exfil where Assassin could easily take that road out. That's where I would place him. Disinformation swirls on social media. Well, I'm sorry. I wanted to go to these slides and just show you that USA Today had these, this slide, which is a better slide than what the New York Times had, because it shows the whole area. That's where I would put the second shooter. Easy exfil through the residential neighborhood. And then disinformation swirls on social media about after Trump rally shooting. That's from Bloomberg. The post includes some written by U.S. politicians holding elected office, claiming without proof that President Joe Biden had ordered an apparent shooting at the rally. Not true. Others basically stated that the incident was staged or circulated posts misidentifying the shooter. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he was a patsy. Did he shoot off the rifle? But if he's a shitty shot at 150 yards trying to shoot at Trump was moving a little bit, a moving target, and then supposedly his second shot was the better shot. No, it's not how it works. The patsy shoots the first shot. Everybody's misdirected. They look in that direction. Then the sniper, who is more than likely suppressed, this guy was shooting with an open rifle. And then the second shooter takes a shot. All right. Also, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, a top contender for Trump's vice president running mate, wrote on X that Biden's campaign rhetoric led directly to Trump's attempted assassination. That might very well be true. Trump rally shooter seen opening fire and getting killed seconds later. There was a video. It showed him with long hair, not in the most of the pictures we've seen. Blood turns their martyrdom as Republicans rally around Trump. Biden should be forced to resign immediately, says a Republican donor. He called for the President Trump's death, saying, put a bullseye on Donald Trump. That was actually a Democratic donor who said that. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. People at the rally saying it's the media's fault is because it's Joy Reid. If anything was getting into people's minds to do Trump harm, it's continuously calling him Hitler and saying he's he's a danger to democracy. Conspiracy theories swelled around false flags, deep state, Biden and Secret Service, filling the information vacuum as consumers choose their own reality. Hey, man, all you have to know is a couple of things about military tactics. And this guy was a novice, an amateur lone wolf, but he never would have got close to Trump's ear. Sorry. From 150 yards out. How many times did he shoot at that range? At all? Did he ever shoot past 100 yards? 200 yards? You really have to practice for years at 200 yards plus to have any skill. And it wasn't even his gun. It was his dad's gun. So would his dad know if he was like, Dad, I got to practice at 1,000 yards or 200 yards or whatever? I can't even find those distances at ranges around here. So Mediaite, Trump top VP contender J.D. Vance blames Biden's rhetoric for Trump assassination attempt. Very well be. New York Post, we're almost at an hour here, so I'm going to speed up. New York Post, Secret Service blames local police, says they were tasked with securing property surrounding Trump rally, which is true. This is the problem, is that the Secret Service, that the last time they were at that rally, they secured those buildings, but not this time. They tasked municipal police to do it, and apparently they made a mistake. Or you actually had an officer that crawled up looking for this guy, saw him, and ran away. Instead of, if it were a legit sniper team, the kid wouldn't have turned and pointed his weapon at him. So you can look at that as a threat. So if you're a police officer, someone turns and points a weapon at you, you can return fire. So he should have done so immediately. So as soon as he started shooting, that everybody would be alarmed and the Secret Service would have went into action. Because if you also see, the Secret Service didn't start jumping until shots have been, like three shots have been fired before they jumped on Trump. All right, more headlines here. NBC News rooftop gunman shot at Trump was identified as security. The rooftop where gunman shot at Trump was identified as security vulnerability before rally, sources say. Two sources told NBC News the Secret Service flagged the building. Near the rally site is a security concern. Investigators will be scrutinized on how the gunman was allowed to scale it. Apparently it was a ladder that he climbed up. The point being is that he already had a rally there. So Trump had a rally there. Was it a vulnerability before, after? And then the second point is when these questions were swirling about whether Trump's team did request additional Secret Service measures, and this is what happened, this is what I'm told, is that they asked for more personnel. They weren't granted that, and they were given technical assistance instead. So as the ex-Secret Service guy said, and he's knowledgeable on the matter, says there was a request, and that request was met. But apparently not with what was requested. They requested more men. They didn't get more men. They got technology. But apparently there were no drones flying either. So I don't know what technology they received in lieu of personnel. I usually don't quote the Sun, but they list a soft target. 5 achingly obvious security blunders in Trump assassination bid was not securing vantage point to cops retreating. They warned cops about the shooter. Then they have another graph here. Again, they don't tell you about the surrounding area. It's just that one area. Oh, it's a scary AR-15 rifle. Ooh, okay. Counter sniper teams were ready, pointing in that direction, yet waited for the sniper to take a shot. And then the Sun shows here, if Trump tilted his head a little bit, he could have been shot in the brain. That's prowess, being able to take someone's ear off That's not luck. If you believe the official narrative, which I never do, because it's not. Just like Uvalde, how did that happen? Oh, they had a school shooter training in Uvalde 2 weeks before the shooting happened. There was a door left open. And again, just like Sandy Hook, I didn't see any evidence that a crime was even committed there. I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying that I didn't see any evidence that a crime was even committed. Where are the bullet holes? Where's the bloody floor? We don't see anything. So I'm sick and tired of this, like, oh, just believe us because we're the news media. I don't believe you. And with this is just like Las Vegas. It's just like the JFK assassination. Look over here, misdirection. It was this guy. We have the shooter. He's dead. It's just like with other mass shootings. He's dead. Oh, whoops. You'll never know the truth. So a couple other stories here. This is from the Wall Street Journal. It shows the counter sniper team before their guns are up on the tripods, which is, I don't know why you're waiting for that. I guess Trump's, if a sniper just wanted to shoot people in the crowd before Trump got there, you wouldn't be ready. Because look, the crowd is full, and the snipers don't have their guns up. And then here's another day, this is all you need to see. Patsy shooting at Trump, 150 yards away from a prone position. The counter sniper team was looking right in that direction. There's nothing else over here. There's only two roofs. You look at that roof maybe. Then it goes out a little, pulls back a little further. Yeah. How would you hit people here if you were shooting at Trump? Clear line of sight to Trump. How would you hit these guys? You wouldn't. Your shots would miss and hit rally goers down on the southern edge, the southern flank bleachers. And there he pulls back to show the whole thing again. This is where the sniper, in my opinion, the second shooter would have been that actually took Trump's ear off. It's a hard shot to make, folks. And then going back to what this guy said, Coach Bruce, I'm not going to go in. I was going to go into it again, but I'm running out of time here. And look at the slides I created here. Here's the second shooter, in my opinion. This northernmost barn near the lake or pond on the Butler Farm Show property with easy exfil out of a dirt parking lot into a residential neighborhood. Having a clean shot to take off Trump's ear from the back, not from the front. Killing, getting off target and killing people behind Trump because that's where your rounds go. They don't go in front. How often do you, I just want to say that. Is anybody out there rifle shooter? How often do you miss the target and hit something in front of the target? Anyone? Never. Never. You'd have to be the worst shot in the world. If you miss target, if you're off target, you hit something behind the target. You don't hit something in front of the target. All right, so going back to this slide, again, this aerial, the satellite footage. Here, the second shooter would be screened by a row of trees. If you were over here too much, I think it'd be too much in the open, and not necessarily concealed from other people on the ground in the area, in the concert area. Plus, there are other buildings back here that you could be seen by this road or people working at these buildings that are also on Butler Farm Show property. And going back to this again, this is not the first shot. So again, they're trying to say that an amateur rifleman who couldn't even make the high school rifle team, his second shot, I gotta change out my mic here, hold on. His second shot was the best shot. That he missed with the first shot, and that he hit the president in the ear, which is practically a headshot, which at 150 yards at a moving target is difficult to muster, even for a pretty good shot. But that's not the case. That's not the case here at all. You're saying that this amateur marksman on his second shot hit the president in the ear, which is impossible to do. Oh my God. So, yeah, I'm having some mic issues here, so stick with me. Is that, I should have changed these beforehand. All right, are we back in business? All right, thank you. Sorry about that, folks. So there's no way. Also from the New York Post, Elon Musk goes all in for Trump after Pennsylvania rally shooting. I fully endorse President Trump. FBI surprised at how many shots Trump's would-be assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks, fired off before Secret Service killed him at rally. Indeed. 3 or 4, apparently. But in a total, we know there were 8 or 9 shots. Donald Trump urges the nation not to let evil win and fear not after the shooting. And then I am going to play... I'm going to play, if I can, I am going to play the assassination video again. So there it is. Oh, I think I got rid of it already, right? Hold on a second. So anyway, I'm going to put up this this graphic again. Just so you take a look at it here, is that's where I think the second shooter was, screened from the sniper teams. He's the one that would kill the people on the bleachers behind Trump. That's where your shots would go, never in front. And then I'm gonna play the assassination. So I originally had when I did a special report on Saturday, we originally talked about the yellow towels as signals. I agree that's still the case. It's hard to determine exactly what people are doing where, but it just seemed weird. And because you had the same thing in the Las Vegas shooting, people with certain color cowboy hats were not getting shot at. And they were standing around like nothing was happening. Meanwhile, dead bodies were all around. Very strange. So I think these people, I think it was part of a signal. I know it's the terrible towel from the Pittsburgh Steelers and all that, but why would people have towels? Why would somebody have a towel hanging out of his vest pocket? Why be wearing a yellow t-shirt at a Trump event? What is that? What is that? You're not at a Steelers football game. Why would you do that? So I'm going to play this video here. Let's see if we can get it up. Here. Of the assassination, and then I'm going to close out with that. So. It's not working. Yeah, something fucked up here. Sorry, kids. So you can see that some people just stay standing and other people get down. Right at the first shot, everybody hits the deck. And then there's some people standing. And this guy in the yellow shirt, upper left, he doesn't start standing right away. But the guy here in the vest, right behind him, is either a complete idiot or he does have a little yellow signal there. So.
Moving his hair. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move.
But also, if you're in the back, you know that you're not even in the line of fire there because your two snipers are from the left and the right. And it's only people, and it's hard to see because in the back bleacher there, you're not right on top of Donald Trump. That's because of the way the photography is done. It collapses. It looks like you're right on top of him, but you're not. You're quite a ways back. See, there you see the yellow guy standing up again in the yellow shirt. And then there's some signaling from a woman down on the lower right. She starts waving her yellow towel in the air. See her? Waving the yellow towel. Nobody else is, some people are clapping. Nobody's waving anything. She's waving again and again and again, waving a yellow towel. So there it is. There's my take on it. Donald Trump, the victim of a purposeful wounding by a pro sniper, getting shot in the air. That's your sniper's best shot, is the first shot, not subsequent shots. Snipers rarely go boom, 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 boom. That's not the way snipers shoot. They take one shot. And in this case, I think 2 shots. I think it was the headshot to the father was a secondary glory kill, and the first shot was Trump's ear, showing the prowess of this second shooter, an actual trained professional sniper, not some friggin' amateur that apparently couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, literally. So that's my take on it. Believe what you will. All right, thanks for joining me, everybody. That was like over an hour, but I wanted to delve into this because this is important. Most people will remember this for the rest of their lives. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And so just like any other major event, mass shooting, Boston bombing, whatever it is, we have to look at what is possible and what is likely to have occurred, not just what the media is telling us or what law enforcement is telling us or what the government is telling us, to just look at this lone shooter who actually was able to shoot Trump's ear off. That's, even if it was close from sniper standards, 150 yards is pretty close from sniper standards. But for a regular shooter, a lay person, that's hard, you know, because a person's head is only the size of a paper plate. So if you can hit a paper plate while literally under the gun, you know, at a moving paper plate, you know what I mean? That's a tough shot. And you're not taking into account wind or anything. And I don't know, apparently he wasn't a very good shot. So was he training over the past few years like crazy with his dad's rifle? I mean, it's not even his rifle. And it doesn't make sense to me. So that's my take on it. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to engage the channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up, share the podcast, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me again. Respect.
This is all a conspiracy. No, you know that is a conspiracy there.
The New World Order.